Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Um, Padgley and Garrett and Chanel, the main person I want you guys to meet and understand who who's our queen bee for Native Resilience with the Desert Research Institute is Marie McCarthy. She is a nuclear physicist and used to be the director of Homeland Security. And so we have been
Research and development.
research and development, yes. And so we have been doing this for how many years, Maureen?
A
Almost
lot.
10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we started with native waters.
Yep. We started with native waters and then we were native climate and then we got a new president and now we're native resilience. So I just want to highlight a few things and to remind those that are new here, we don't do this very often and I should do this more often. But so Native Resilience has partnered with tribes throughout Indian country to co-develop practical approaches for strengthening tribal agriculture under drought, water stress, and climate change. During the pandemic, we did a ton of work with water and, like got water to Navajo, wood, all those types of things. Help build tribal capacity to create and implement plans, policies, and practices for sustainable agriculture and water management. Connected Native producers and communities with weather data, environmental monitoring, and decision support resources tailored to tribal needs. So we've done quite a few weather stations. A lot of the tribes are so large that there's only one weather station, and so that's where Kyle Bukinski comes in. Say hi, Kyle. He is our resident climatologist.
Hello.
We also create a repository of agriculture resilience projections for all 634 tribes, Native Alaskan villages, and Native Hawaiian communities in the United States. Supported workshops, summits, webinars, and educational programs that bring together tribal leaders, educators, and ag professionals from across the country. And then probably the most important is we have elevated Indigenous knowledge, storytelling, and community driven research as essential foundations for resilient tribal agriculture and water futures. If Kelsey will put up on our screen our website, we have we have a storytelling map, and we have done a lot of, we've attended the Alaska climate it's a national
Native,
conference.
Native,
Yes. Yep.
Tribal, and Indigenous Climate Conference.
Yes. And we attended that and gathered some more stories from there. We have a really interactive map that Kelsey Fitzgerald is our PR person, our tech person, our everything. And then we also work with the climate hubs. So thank you everyone for being on. We are really trying to prepare Indian country for this drought that's going to happen. We have no snow in the mountains. We've gotten a little, but so the rundown's not going to be great. Even if we have a great spring of water, we're still going to be facing this. So with that, Maureen, do you want to say anything? Just a quick
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah. I'm really grateful to the organizations for presenting today because, as Vicky said, our goal is to be able to link tribal producers, farmers, ranchers, food growers, anybody who's out there in Indian country with the resources that are necessary to, in this year, navigate through what is building up to be a pretty severe snow drought in the area. So, by background, Kyle gave an excellent presentation on where we are in terms of snowpack resources and water resources across the West. It's pretty dire, particularly for the Rockies and the Southern Rockies in particular. So, what we wanted to do was have your organizations be able to connect with how producers can most efficiently and effectively find resources to be able to navigate through the drought situation and in through other challenges in the future. So thank you for being here. This is really important, and we appreciate all of the information that you can share with our group.
Awesome. Before I move on to our first speaker, I do want to introduce Monty Dozier. He is the chair of EDEN, which is the Extension Disaster Emergency Network, which all of us need to be aware of, because in a disaster, reach out to us. We have started a tribal version of this that Monty is helping. I'm the chair of that committee. And so Monty, if you just want to say a quick hi, put your, I think G-Man put up your info. Michael Gaffney is also, I call him my G-Man, but he is
Yeah, it's
also part of EDEN.
sure great to speak with y'all. And on behalf of National Extension Disaster Education Network, we appreciate the opportunity to join in and listen. We are working today actually with an operational exercise in Amarillo, but always have the opportunity and enjoy joining this webinar. And it's highly educational for our extension educators as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty. And please reach out if you find your tribes or your areas in disaster. Please reach out, because that's exactly what this is for. They provide hay. Like if you remember the Panhandle fire, they located, handled cattle, hay, all those different resources that we need in
Monty,
agriculture.
Monty, would you be willing to share this webinar recording with your group so that
Yeah.
they have an idea of who the tribal organizations are that are working on support to producers?
Yes, ma'am. That would be no problem.
Excellent.
And
Thanks.
And Maureen, we just had a board meeting last Thursday where I announced this and kind of made sure our board was aware of what this group is doing as well. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the National, Native Agriculture Ag Fund. Chanel,
Native
help me.
American Agriculture
American Ag
Fund.
Fund, yes. I'm sorry, I should never
Thanks,
said
Kyle.
that. Thank you, Kyle. I got tongue twisted there. But so this is Chanel, and she is, tell me your title, Chanel.
I'm the director of programs for Native American Ag Fund.
Yes, and their CEO, Toni, is on a board call right now, but if she pops in, we will make sure that everyone gets an introduction to that. My purpose on NAF is that I want this group to be aware of who they are. They are not technical service providers, but they offer grants to organizations. And so with that, Chanel, the time is yours. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, good morning. Again, my name is Chanel Ford. I'm the director of programs here at NAF. I'm an enrolled member of the Spokane tribe from Eastern Washington. I grew up on the Spokane Indian Reservation, where my family owns and operates a small bison ranch. In the past 2 years, I moved to Pendleton, Oregon. So just me and my dogs here holding it down, and getting to know the community and kind of the ag in this part of Oregon. So Native American Agriculture Fund, we are a private charitable trust. So if y'all haven't heard of us, you might be familiar or might have heard some information in regard to us regarding the Keep Siegel v. Vilsack class action lawsuit. So this is a historic class action lawsuit on behalf of Native farmers and ranchers and producers that were really being that had been unfairly denied equal access to credit, loans, and support. Original cases were in South Dakota, North Dakota. We had some in Montana. After a decade of litigation, this specific case settled in 2011 for like roughly $680 million, I think it was, of programmatic relief. Some was distributed back out to the original claimants. And then another settlement that was included in there was the cypre provision. So this cypre provision allowed those unclaimed funds of that 680 million to create a charitable trust, and that charitable trust is NAF. We're governed by a trust agreement. So everything that we follow our guidelines, since we're a private charitable trust, we just go and follow along the lines of our trust agreement. So we're not federal funding. People often get us confused with that, but we like to say we have a lot less red tape than other funded organizations. We distribute grant funds to educational institutions, CDFIs, tribes and instrumentalities, as well as 501c3 organizations. So if you're any one of those four entities, you're allowed to apply for our funding. We're actually open period right now. Our grant closes on May 1st. And we really focus on increasing access to capital. Whatever increasing access to capital looks like in agriculture in your community or in your region, we want you to put forth an application. We fund from Washington State to Florida to Maine to we have a grant in Louisiana. And like I said, it looks different, and we understand that it looks different in every community. Thank you for popping that in there, Kyle. Man, I owe you. You got my back today. Thank you. So we have funded in the past IAC. We have funded Akiptan. We funded four bands. We funded just local tribes in the Eastern Oregon region, Washington State region, and we really want to be able to just be kind of an arm for people to lean on. If you are like, hey, we have a specific drought, we know that this is coming up. We want to do some mitigation planning. We want to do that is allowable. You can utilize our funding to do that. Typically, we have what's called a special emphasis area that you can apply for. This year we don't have it, but that special emphasis funding would have focused on like drought, mitigation, planning, regenerative ag, things like that. But just because that category isn't in there this year doesn't mean that you can't apply for it. So it just means you have to apply for our general funded category grant. So each grant is a different amount of funding. So our 501c3s and our tribes, you can apply for up to 250,000, and our educational institutions, you can apply for up to 200,000. And then if you're a CDFI, we just ask that you don't apply for our full amount that's in your pool, which the cap amount for the CDFIs is 5.5 million. So we ask that you just don't ask for the full 5.5 million. Those are the amounts. You can do a 12-year or 24-month or 12-month or 24-month grant project. It's up to you. You have dedicated points of contacts that work with you directly to make sure that your project is going as you imagined. And if there's modifications needed, we step in and make sure that is taken care of. But yeah, our job is to really focus in on the reason why we're here, which is the original individuals that were not afforded the same access to credit and access to lending as other farmers and ranchers and producers. So we really want to increase the ag dial across Indian country, and we're hoping that we get and see more applications. And if you guys have any questions regarding the application, I oversee our entire RFA process. So I am a good person to ask any questions. We do have 3 webinars that have just wrapped up with full Q&A with our staff at the end. So if there's any specific questions, we have a really good FAQ page on our website. I'll drop all those links in the chat here when I'm done, but goes over kind of how you should apply if you want to apply. If you're you have to be, if you're a nonprofit organization, or if you're applying if you don't have 501c3 status, you can apply through a fiscal sponsor. So keep that in mind. If you don't have your status yet, that's okay. As long as you're seeking a 501c3 status, you can use a fiscal sponsor. A lot of people don't know that. We do have youth programming as well. So you can essentially apply for youth project, and then you can apply for our general, and you could potentially get funded in both. So long as the projects don't lean on each other, right? The funding isn't like, if you weren't able to get funded in one, your other project would fall apart. We don't want that. So just make sure they're separate projects, but you could potentially get funded in both. So yeah, I hope that was good. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. Okay, cool.
I know. Amazing. I have a question. So did you guys record your webinars for the question? Okay.
Absolutely. All of the webinars are recorded. And if you go to our FAQ, the frequently asked questions tab, I can pop that directly in there. That's I think the best route to go because it's basically what I just
Great.
gave you was a rundown of what our webinar is about. And then at the end is Q&A, but we take all of those questions that were asked in each webinar and we put them in our frequently asked question tab. So we have a chat bot too. We're dabbling with AI. We created a chat bot that you can just type your question into the chat bot and it should bring you right directly to that.
Amazing.
Perfect. Our
There we
FAQ's
go.
in there. Thank you so much. Al, I
Okay,
owe you a
so
coffee.
I know, Chanel, amazing. Thank you for being on. A reminder to everyone on that all of this will be on our website, all these resources. So if you want to go visit NAF or see any of these, it will be on our website, which is native-resilience.com. And then there's Chanel's email as well.
Sorry, Vicky. I think I just sent that to you. And just to
Oh,
recap on that too, the funding, we have a plethora of ways that you can fund. If you look at our website, we have formally funded projects on there. It could be, like I said, mitigation planning. It could be we've had people use it for infrastructure,
yeah.
refencing. That's totally allowable. So however it's going to increase access to capital and focus on ag in your community, totally allowable. So
So, Chanel, so your deadline's May 1st, correct?
correct. Yep.
Okay, so to this group, we have 9 days. And if you have drought mitigation ideas, that's really where we're asking Chanel to be on because I know it's not a lot of time, but I mean, there's still enough time to apply for this. And in your communities, if you can think of a way that this may be able to mitigate some of this drought coming forward, it's really why we wanted NAF to be on here because there are funds available.
Yes, absolutely. And if you have questions about, like, if you have ideas right now about what that would look like, how you would want to use the funding for drought mitigation, if you want to share out or put it in the chat, I can let you know, like, if that's something that has potentially been funded in the past or if it aligns with NAF's mission, I can
Yeah.
kind of give you guidance on that totally.
And then I guess I would just like to put forward to you and Toni that you bring it to your board that maybe a new cycle would be open midsummer. Like I know that you can bring that to your board, but like
Absolutely.
if drought gets really severe this summer, I hope that you guys would be open to another cycle of funding.
Absolutely. So we actually do have this because we've removed our uh special emphasis category, which our special emphasis category in the past would focus on, like it would focus on, say, drought mitigation. Since
Yeah.
we don't have those categories this go round, we're going to be opening up an if infusion funding later on this year.
Yes.
And so this is good feedback for us to hear because we bring that directly to our board and say, okay, these are some of the things that we've heard the people say that is necessary right now in ag and that's impacting them. And we'd bring that to the board and that would be a final board decision. But it's good for us to know that because we can make that case to them as this could
Yeah.
potentially be one of the topics that should be funded with the infusion funding. And we've never done this cycle of infusion funding before, but I'll have Toni send you the information once we get
Yeah.
to the RFA, we're going to send all of that information out, but it should be late fall. But next year we're going to do it every other year offset. So next year we'll go back to special emphasis categories, which we could put
Okay.
this drought mitigation as one of the categories where we're just specifically funding a project that's the money goes directly towards drought mitigation. Or it's in the past, we've had regenerative ag, we've had beginning farmers and ranchers,
Yeah.
we've had just infrastructure. So keep us in mind when you have those ideas because
Yes.
that's how we find out what those categories look like every year because we do a poll. We send out we send out a form and ask people, please share with us what you want us to fund. And that's how we gather what those categories even look like. So please send
Okay.
any of that information our way. We're happy to document that and use that for next year.
So I think that that's key because even if the drought happens this year, we're going to feel the effects next year.
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
what I would like to do is, Maureen, let's put together just a formal letter from Native Resilience. And
Mhm.
then, Monty, I would like to include Eden on that with the subset of our tribal colleges, the tribes. And I think that would like be really influential on your board. Are we
Yeah,
good?
quick
Yes.
question for Chanel. Do you have a network where you can share best practices among the folks that you've been funding? And this may be a question for all the presenters today, so that
Yeah.
we can streamline getting best practices, in this case for drought mitigation and ag resilience, among tribal producers.
So that's actually a great question. We just started doing, we're like tomorrow and the next and Thursday are our first days where we're going to be doing regional grantee, well, virtual regional grantee gatherings with all of our grantees. And it's not every one of them together. We're doing CDFIs and tribes, I think, and edu orgs and nonprofits together. But we're asking them questions exactly like you asked. We want to pull that data from those groups and saying, like, what is trending right now? What are things we can focus on? What are you seeing in your region? What are you seeing as this specific organization, as a CDFI in drought
Yeah.
mitigation? What are you guys looking
Thank
at?
you.
How are you trying to enhance and increase things
Perfect.
to your to who you're serving? So yes, we'll get that info and we'll be able to share that out for you. So we'll be
Perfect.
done by the end of the year. I think November is our last call in that type of a setting. So we'll compile all that and say, like, this is
Okay.
what we've gathered, and we can definitely share that with y'all for sure.
Great.
Okay. I
Thank you.
love that. And I just saw my girl Toni's on. So Toni Stanger McLaughlin is the CEO of Native American Ag Fund. And I know she has a really busy schedule today, but Toni, thanks for popping in. I really want to connect you with our team. And we're a team with Eden and Extension and just a very comprehensive national team. So, Toni, thank you so much for popping in. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Chanel's
She
killing
did a
it.
great job. I
Amazing.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Toni Stanger McLaughlin, I'm a citizen of the Colville tribe, descendant of multiple other tribes, married to a Navajo. I reside in Eastern Washington and have been involved in the Keep Siegel case, which resulted in the establishment of our trust since 2008. But the case originally started in 1979. So
Yeah.
when I was born, and it's sad that it took my lifetime and me going to law school and coming back and working for USDA to be able to help settle that case. But the good news is that we're on the other side of this, and we're trying to help producers in Indian country agriculture in whatever manner we can. And just to quickly go back to the last question, we ask all of our grantees questions on who they're serving, the types of producers that they are maybe funding in the lending space. And through some of those survey questions, we're able to identify how many of our organizations are based on conservation practices, as an example. And so we cannot take any money in. Our sole responsibility is to spend our money down over the course of 20 years, and that's 266 million over 20 years. We're moving into year 7 already, and we have traditionally had one annual grant funding cycle. But we've had other funders come to us and say, I only fund in conservation. Can you send me all your conservation projects? Or I only fund in New Mexico. Can you send me
Yeah.
your New Mexico grantees? And so we can pull that information and we try to do our own data internally so that we can identify good grantees for other funders. And so that's something that if you're working with a funder and they're looking to connect on the ground with someone, come to us, we can help.
Yeah.
with who we funded in the past. And we've had over 500 grantees in the past 7 years. We've done close to and hovering around $90 million in grants already. And we're just continuing every year to administer at least 10 million in grant funding. And this year we've got a second cycle that we will have later in the fall that is meant to be an infusion funding. And our board is still formalizing what that will look like. But in the past, those are larger awards. And so what we've got coming out in May are awards that are private. That's the other thing too that you need to know about NAF funding is we're not federal funding. We are not tribal organization. We are
Yeah.
a national philanthropic drawdown trust fund in the $250,000 range. And so in how we operate, you can use our funding for equipment. You can use it for salary. You can use it for
Mm.
scholarships. You can go heavy on the salary if you have other grant funding that won't allow you to pull that much salary.
Yeah.
We do have a cap on how much administrative funds you can pull down per year in the grant, but we have a lot of freedom. And so if you're applying for our funding, we do have a few key areas every year that will get you more points in the process. And one of those is that the foundation of how we came to be is that producers that were seeking out loans at USDA, which used to be the Farm and Home Administration when the original claims were filed. Essentially, it was rural development and the Farm Service Agency used to be under one umbrella. They've separated now, and there's other reorgs that have happened. But back when the cases first started, people were they were operators, they were trying to get loans. Most of them were in the cow-calf space. And the thing that people confuse is we are Native American in our title, but this is not a cultural food grant. This is not a traditional
Mm.
food grant. This was based on producers that were able to form a class, and they were able to form that class under violations of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, because if they did get a loan, which was a hurdle, then many of them had discriminatory loan practices alleged. I have to say alleged because it was a settlement, not a judgment, that they were basically pushed into foreclosure. And
Yeah.
as a result, everything we do has to reduce or eliminate the original harms of those claimants. And so, even if we're doing an elementary school project, there has to be some component in that project related to credit. And we say access to capital, but that's super broad. Just like agriculture is very broad, it includes seafood and forestry too, grasslands. When we say access to capital, it could be teaching kids about how much it costs to take a product and bring it to market. It could be their FFA or 4-H projects. But when you're incorporating the educational component of credit into that, then you meet that burden. But that has to be central to every project that we push through. And this is there's very different ways that you can do that in the conservation or drought space, but it ultimately all comes down to the bottom line. We need to make sure that our producers have the resources available
Yeah.
to continue. And so it's very easy to intertwine the credit or access to capital into a conservation project, but we close very soon. But knowing that we close, our application process is easier than getting through almost any
Yeah.
other grants portal. Our
Thank you
pool,
for saying that. Yes,
yeah, and
it's
we made it even easier. Every year we go through and we
ag
try to
friendly.
eliminate.
Yes,
And so this
exactly.
year well, one year I had a gal call me and she's like, look, I just came back from 2 months of maternity leave. Can I have an extension? Unfortunately, we don't grant extensions. And this was, I mean, I'm in Pacific and it was already approaching the afternoon and she finished that project by 9:30 at night and they got funded that year. And so she
Yeah.
did that all on her own in one day. It can be done. You can collaborate across the country. Multiple people can work on your project at the same time. But somebody has to be responsible for clicking submit because I had one project where 4 people worked on it and nobody clicked submit.
Oh,
But know that that is coming up on May 1st is our deadline. You can get in there, and if you want to know who we fund, if there's maybe a partner that you already work with, go to our website. We have a history of all the grants that we've funded in the past. We also have an annual report, and this last year we've been putting out these smaller reports on the 4 categories, the 4 eligible entities that we do fund. So we have a report on the CDFIs we funded, the EDUs, and 501s, and we're going to have one for each one of our categories that gives you a synopsis of what we funded in the past. But one of the things to note that our board is really looking at as we move forward is if your project, again, it concentrates on the access to capital, it goes directly to producer support. So we
Yeah.
can't fund individuals, which is such an impediment. We love to get this directly in the hands of producers, but we can't. We need an intermediary. And so our EDUs, our 501s, our tribal governments, our
Yeah.
educational entities, they can fund individuals, but we can't. And that's a survey that we're getting ready to put out as well, that we're talking about yesterday, formulating something that we've been trying to hear from our intermediaries. What are the needs that your groups have? But one gap that we've been seeing is we have producers that call us and they complain that they can't get access to our funding because they don't have an intermediary that's serving them. And so we're going to send out a survey more on a grassroots level to get to individual producers to say, what do you need to help the intermediaries come up with better applications moving forward that will meet the needs of those individuals? It's easier in the CDFI space because you can just get a loan, but you have to get more
Yeah.
creative in the EDU space or in the nonprofit. And even our tribes can do a lot of regranting, but
Can
those are
we do university, like desert
Yeah,
research?
you guys are an eligible entity, any of our universities, but one thing to note is that a lot of universities have a cost share, or
Yeah.
they take a big
Yeah.
cut of whatever funding you get. We have a set number, but we have had a number of universities that say our number is this period. Sometimes it's 60%, and we've said no. If you want to
Yeah.
receive our
Okay.
funding, it can't be any more than 15%. And so they have adjusted, they've made exceptions for our funding in the past. And
Okay.
we have a lawyer on retainer that can help negotiate that with the university. We've met with a number of state universities. And the other thing is you don't have to be a tribal entity to get our funding. Anyone is eligible for our funding. The caveat is
Yeah.
that the work has to serve Indian country agriculture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
All right.
so
Okay.
knowing
Real
that.
quick. Okay. G-Man. Question.
Oh, just paying attention. Thanks.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I saw you come off mute.
That's all
Okay,
right.
so really good info. Toni, thank you so much for all the information. We have 2 more speakers, so I need to keep
Yeah, well, and I
moving.
gotta hop off too,
I
but
know you
Chanel will
do.
stay on.
Yes, and thank you so much for your time. I know you're so busy and don't feel a million. And so love you. Thank
Okay,
you
thank
so
you. Bye,
much. I'll be in
everyone.
touch. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Next, we are going to move to Akiptan. And this is a really, really good resource that is for the producers. So, with that, I'm going to introduce Garrett Golliher, and he is a loan administrator. We also have Finette Gray on, which I love, and I think Whitney was on there for a little bit. Garrett, thank you so much for being on. If you would just give me a little bio and introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. No, like Miss Vicky said, my name is Garrett Golliher. I grew up in southern Missouri. That's where I'm originally from, and I am the local Akiptan vagabond. So I've kind of been a little bit everywhere. I love to travel, love to go do things, see places. Kind of done it all. Worked bucking bulls in Texas, row crops, Missouri. Been up rode horses and worked cows in South Dakota and Montana. Been extremely blessed to be able to do the things I do, see the things I've seen. And then luckily got introduced to Sky and Melissa and got to be a part of a great team. And so cool, Melissa and Sky, they put together such a great team that, we're all have a little bit something different. We've all been somewhere different agriculture, and it's just super great to be a part of a team that is really looking to make a difference in agriculture.
Hey,
So Akiptan,
so
go ahead.
Garrett, your mic is like really, can you just maybe, sit still and forward? There we go. Okay.
Can you
It's
hear me
just
better
we're
now?
getting feedback from your mic. Okay,
All right. So
good.
perfect. So here at Akiptan, our mission, we are here to transform native agriculture and food economies by delivering creative capital, leading paradigm changes, and enhancing producer prosperity across Indian country. Our vision, and this is, kind of the meat and potatoes of what we really do here at Akiptan. We have unrestricted, equitable access to capital, tools, and knowledge to support growth and prosperity in native agriculture. We really reflect on traditional values, responsiveness to needs, and drive innovation in food and agriculture. We're trying to fill financial gaps and restore native stewardship of land, food, and economies. So like I said earlier, we are CDFI, and here at Akiptan, that's the it's the word for working together in a cooperative effort in Lakota. So we are like a bank in the sense that we do provide loans, but you cannot deposit money, and we do offer technical assistance. We work on business and goal planning, succession planning, financial literacy training, and different areas beyond that even. So we do have to follow laws, but we are unregulated, which allows us to be flexible and have innovative capital. So since inception, and these numbers are a little bit off, we just found out the other day that we did cross the 50 million loan capital committed threshold mark the other day. So that was pretty cool. It's kind of a number we've been looking to hit for a little while now. So super cool. So our products and services, we offer 4 different products here at Akiptan. We do a youth loan, a general loan, operating loan and line of credit, and then a land mortgage and down payment. So the eligibility, you do have to follow eligibility. You must be involved in native agricultural field, anything on the food chain from initial production to retail. Eligible activities, but are not limited to farming, ranching, fishing, timber, retail. Agribusiness is a big one too that we do really try to support as well. So our first product we're going to talk about is our youth loan. They do range in pricing from different age groups. 10 to 12 is up to 5,000. Ages 13 to 15 is up to 7,500. Ages 16 to 18 is for 10,000. So this works great for 4-H. Really helps a young individual get started on the right track. It helps them be able to grow their herd. We can pair it with an FSA loan, and we can do a repayment of up to 12 years. Then we get to our general loan, so 18 years and older. This is up to 12 years of repayment, and something super cool that just happened at the beginning of this year. We raised our lending limits from 250 to 500,000. So this can be, the general loan is used for equipment, infrastructure, value-added operations, transportation, livestock, and refinancing current debt in agriculture. This is great. We pair it with a technical assistant. So the loan officer that you will receive will be, having check-ins, figuring out, what's going to work best for your operation and trying to find a plan for you guys in order to best have your operation. So this is another cool one that we do. We do the operating line of credit. So this is 18 years and older as well. It's up to 12 months of repayment, and it's up to 500,000. So this is going to be trying to, like you guys were talking about earlier, as far as trying to maybe mitigate the risk of this drought. This could be used to help buy hay. This could be used for different other things that you guys need on your operation that, can help combat that drought that you guys are dealing with. And this is another big one that we do. We have a land mortgage down payment assistance. So this again is 18 years and older. We can do up to 30 years of repayment. And again, it's once up to 500,000. We can use this to be consolidated interest, purchase a piece of land to operate on, purchase land and building combos for operation. This is something that's really cool about us as well. We do try to really help in any way we can get individuals to get land. So we do have two different repayment styles here at Akiptan, and they go kind of hand in hand with our patient capital lending philosophy. So first off, so traditional repayment. It's a blended payment. You know, longer terms, you'd see more lending, longer terms that you would send it at your typical lending institution. So this is great for equipment, infrastructure, and people that are already at their maximum capacity. So this is just an example. Most of the time, it's going to be a 7-year. I do know our interest rate this quarter is a little higher, it's 3.6, but you see here, this is what your annual payment would be for 7 years for the 250,000. The next one we have is a 5-year interest only payment, and then it does switch to a principal payment after that for 7 years. So it is a 12-year loan in total. And this kind of allows maybe a producer to get ahead of the game, somebody starting out. It allows them to really get a hold of what's going on and be able to grow at a rather fast rate and not have that big payment on the back end. And this is kind of what it looks like. So the first 5 years is going to be at a little bit higher of an interest rate, and you'd be paying down the interest on that. And then after that, for 7 years, you are paying down the principal. So those annual payments of $7,000 for 5 years for somebody that's starting out or somebody that needs a little bit of assistance to get back on their feet really helps and allows them to grow their herd or, you know, grow their operation instead of having that $40,000 payment right off the bat. So our loan process, we do a discovery and intake. So this is where you will get assigned a loan officer. The loan officer will be in touch with you within 10 days. We'll get to know you guys. We'll be able to get all of your guys' information, all the paperwork that we need on the back end, and really learn about what you guys do on a day-to-day basis. So this goes into the technical assistance and application completion. Like I said, we do need application stuff as far as forms that we will get from you guys if you choose to apply with us. We'll be able to have communication, talk about what's going on, go over different areas. We do create a combined financial sheet here at Akiptan. We do try to show you guys that and let you see what we do and how we have worked everything out. So then we go to our review and closing. The loan officer will create a loan narrative. It is then reviewed by the executive director of lending, which is Ms. Melissa Curley. And then after that, it will be sent to the loan committee for their review. So they may ask some clarifying questions. And then as a loan officer, it's our job to get those clarifying questions answered. If the loan is approved, closing documents are drawn up and signed. If denied, a reason why will be given with an opportunity to fix the application. So the aftercare, this is the submission of invoices for disbursement. So we do require invoices to be sent to us in order to disperse the funds. We do site visits if you guys want them. They are available. We do informal quarterly check-ins, and then we do an annual financial review and any further technical assistance that is needed. So we do have a couple other things from our program side. We have I'm going to butcher the name of this, so I'm just not even going to try to say it. We do have some cool scholarships for individuals. This one, unfortunately, just ended. And then So we have a youth business planning contest that does end at the end of this week. So you complete an agribusiness plan, record a business pitch, and then you guys submit us online, and it allows them to have a chance to win some cash money. It's just free. We offer a summer youth internship as well. So this is interns 16 to 18 years of age looking for hands-on experience. They can be remote or in Eagle Butte, South Dakota. Opens in the spring of 26, starts in June of 26, and ends in August of 26. We do offer 3 different programs and TA stuff throughout the year. So we have a financial management for cattle ranchers, which is something that is led by Justine Kogel. It is a cohort. Then we have introducing native agriculture for young entrepreneurs. It's a cohort led by Ms. Donna LeBeau. And then we have the agribusiness cohort, and I am in charge of leading that as well. So we do also offer some little booklets. We have a succession guide, and then we have a rancher's record book. And then some webinars coming up. Looks like last one is tomorrow. So this is Stronger Roots. This is a 3-series deal. This recording is in our library, plus free financial information on our website. We would love it if you guys would sign up for our monthly newsletter. We got some cool stuff that comes in there, just kind of giving some annual reminders, employee highlights, and different things like that. And we are also hiring. So here at Akiptan, we're looking for a communications officer and a loan administrator. And any feedback would be great from you guys. We're always looking to grow, always looking to be a little bit better tomorrow than we were today. And here's a little bit of info for us. So we do have our contact page. That's the phone number that you can reach the office at. Our website is right there, www.akiptan.org. Info@akiptan.org is if you're looking for different information. And then our physical address is 408 South Main Street, Eagle Butte, South Dakota. And that is it.
Hey, that was amazing. I have a quick question because we got to keep moving. I know people have other things. Garrett, that was amazing. Your 500,000 is a limit complete, right? Like
Yes,
across the board.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
So you can apply for a loan, but it's a cap of 500,000.
Yes, ma'am. So we have a lot of individuals that will apply, for example, just to buy a group of cows, and they may ask for 200,000 and then cut that with a operating for 50,000. So their loan total would be 250,000. They would have a 7-year term on the cows and then a 1-year operating on the operating.
Okay, perfect. We just got a loan and it was approved today, so I can vouch for this. This is an excellent producer-based opportunity. Finette and Garrett, if you would put your personal emails in the chat, that would be amazing. Finette Gray is also a loan administrator and she is on. Finette, real quick, pop on. Little looky. There you go. Hi. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Yes. So Finette and Garrett are on this. So, all right, I'm going to keep moving because I know we're getting towards the hour, but I wanted to end with the Intertribal Agriculture Council with Padgley Patch. She is the director of Regenerative Economies, and it's going to be really important. IEC is probably one of the only technical service providers out there. So, like, this is going to be important for everyone on this call to refer their producers to IEC to have that help. So, Padgley, Kels, you going to share or you want me to?
Do you have the slides pulled up still?
I do. Yep.
Okay.
1000%. Give me one sec. Okay. I'm not really good at this. Okay. Okay. Give me a sec. Okay. I'm going to share. There we go. There we go. Okay. Right. Okay. And then Kyle right here, right? No view. So terrible at this, people. Okay. There we go.
All right.
Okay. Padgley, if you will introduce yourself, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, sounds good. Hi, everyone. My name is Padgley Patch. I will try to be as brief as possible. I got a few minutes. I don't want to go over time too much, but can you go back to the first slide, please? Intertribal
Yes.
Agriculture Council. We're a
Oh,
nonprofit organization. We were founded in 1987, and our mission is to pursue and promote the conservation, development, and sustainable use of agriculture resources for the betterment of tribal nations and our citizens. Next slide. I'm based out of Sackatoon, Arizona, so very familiar with drought in the Southwest. So nice to meet you.
yeah.
I see you for around 5 years now. So I just wanted to share some like practical tools that producers and your community members can utilize to do some drought planning for their operations. And I want to touch a little bit on the drought monitor to start off with, just to get everyone up to speed. That's what it's a key decision maker for both producers and the federal government. It's utilized by producers to track moisture levels, anticipate crop stress, and to understand any impacts that might come in the season on grazing and water supply. It's also the federal trigger for disaster programs and to determine eligibility for those programs. So we're just coming off a huge disaster assistance campaign for the last couple of years. So I'll kind of deep dive slightly into disaster assistance programming. And these ones are really key. I think it's important to really know them before you need them. So all this information is really handy, even if program deadlines have already passed. There's always, next year and getting, your records in place and everything. So the key drought programs at USDA are going to be the livestock forage program, which helps producers dealing with grazing losses due to drought or fire. And then there's ELAP, which is the Emergency Assistance for Livestock, Honeybees, and Farm Raised Fish, which helps to fill some of those gaps that the other programs don't. And it helps cover losses and added costs that other programs don't, like hauling water and feed during drought. And it can apply to different types of operations. And the big thing with these two programs is to have good documentation and reports and report, when impacts happen to you. Be mindful of different deadlines. Some key like help that can be done there is signing up for text updates. USDA has like a number you can text and you give it the code and your county code and it'll send you reminders for programs specific to your county. And these disaster designations are done on a county level, so you'll be up to speed on deadlines and when things are due. And one thing that IAC really helps out with on this front is like record keeping. We do like financial record keeping presentations, production record keeping templates. We have all of that available. And it's really just a part of the initiative to get folks familiarized with disaster programming, connecting you with FSA, and just overall helping you create better like record keeping practices in your operation. And another program that they have is also NAP, which is the Non-Insured Crop Disaster Assistance Program. This is really important for folks who are growing crops that aren't covered by traditional crop insurance. Um, and the key thing with NAP is that you sign up ahead of time. It's not something that you wait for the losses and then document then. So it's something you'll have to be a little bit more proactive about. And there is like a specific deadline. So again, just wanted to share the program information, kind of run over the key ones. If you want to follow up, we can definitely share more information about it and help you through the application process. And then the other thing we just always want to encourage is keeping, getting a good connection and relationship going with your local FSA office, because they're there to provide this assistance to producers throughout, drought and different weather events. They also provide like emergency loans and loans too. So it's just a great thing to just go in there, establish your records with them, and just be primed for all these key programs. Um, Again, having good documentation is key. Again, I can state we do like record keeping trainings and things like that. They make a huge difference when you apply. And then touching a little bit on IAC assistance, we are a technical assistance providing organization. That's what we're really known for, doing like a lot of the USDA contact through for all of the agencies at IAC. We'll find the relevant programs that fit, tribal communities, nonprofits in the area, and producer needs. And one thing that we can really help in this case is like with sign up events. So I know in the past, like our team and the technical assistance team has helped, facilitate like sign up events for producers in different communities so that we can get them enrolled and have access to the programs. Um, there's also some drought planning that can be done with some of our teams, like the natural resources team can provide like resource concern consultation. So if you're anticipating drought in your area and you want to learn more about regenerative practices, they're there, could help you and connect you with like NRCS programs as well and helping you through the application process there. So we're really there to facilitate that connection with USDA and come out and provide assistance individualized with our producers. So those are a few examples of how we can help you. Um, and hopefully that was pretty effective. I did that really, really fast. So if you need me to go back to anything, I can. But yeah, like I said, that drought monitor is really key. I didn't mention that you can like sign up. Like if you have Facebook, I always get like a notification every week when they update the map. And I think it's 2 weeks on that, then it triggers a disaster declaration for um, your county. So it's a really good tool, and that we just try to always give handy options for producers who are managing so many things across the board to either get notifications on their phone so that they have all that information handy to make their decisions and plan. So yeah, that's what we're here for. We can my contact information is on the second slide.
There we go.
Yeah, feel free to text, call, email me, and then I can connect you with, further programming or a member of our technical assistance team or natural resources team, depending on your needs. But yeah, we're here to help during these times.
Yeah. So I wanted to end with this, not for it to be rushed. So super sorry, Padgley, but IC is your direct connect to USDA. So if your organizations or you have a producer, anything like that, let's just get with IEC. And then Padgley, you need to get with Kyle. He's our climatologist. He can get you drought monitor, extensive information beyond, like Kyle, step in here. I know Kyle had to go, but
No, I'm here. I'm here.
okay,
And
yeah.
I'd be happy to, but I know that IAC has got a lot of capacity and really tracks the drought situation and as Padgley was saying, resources that are available to producers directly through the FSA, which of course we heard about in our last webinar. So it's really nice to see that wrap around all these different resources that we have from NAF to Akiptan and in the IAC. It's great.
Yeah. And what we're really trying to do is bridge the gaps, right? Padgley, if you see a drought monitor situation, you're like, I should look into this more, call Kyle. Because he literally has the heartbeat on everything climatology, El Nino, El Nina, all those things. So, but thank you so much for your time. I think the takeaway for IEC, and I didn't leave them for the last to be short handed, but so that everyone knows that IEC is our technical resource application for producers. So I hope that everyone will take that away. And even if you just go to indianag.org, I mean, and they also have youth programs and all the things for native producers. So everyone within this network, we want to make sure that you know. And Padgley is the director for Regenerative Economies, so it goes way beyond what she talked about today. Padgley, I would love to have you back on directly about what you guys are doing with that. But thanks for stepping in, and thank you to everyone. We are out of time, but if you have questions, text me, email me, and we will get answers. But I really want to thank everyone for being on. It is just really important that as we go into this drought, that we're all in communication and that we use every resource that we have. So thank you to IAC, Akiptan, and NAF for being on. With that, have a great week. We're done.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys.
Take
Yes,
care.
thank you so much.
Such good information today.
So much.
Have a
Yeah.
great
Maybe
week,
you
everybody.
want